this is Zartan, and you're listening to G.I. Joe Chronicles, which I don't like. It should be the Cobra Chronicles, but no.
The LONGBOX Crusade presents
G.I. Joe Chronicles.
Don't they realize they're dealing with Destro?
When I'm through Scud Bucket, they're gonna scrape you off the walls with a squeegee.
Now stop sputtering like a wet toaster and get busy!
Welcome to G.I. Joe Chronicles. I'm one of your commanders, Pat Sampson, codename DJ Kristatos. And joining me, as always, is my battle buddy in this operation, Jarrod Ulbrich, codename Death Probe.
That's a prescription for danger.
Pat, you're probably wondering why I'm soaking wet.
Well, that was going to be like maybe my third question, but I guess I'll just jump right to it. Jarrod, why are you soaking wet?
I just got back from drown proofing training, which is a real thing, by the way, in the military.
Drown proofing?
Drown proofing. You have questions, I have answers. Okay.
I do.
For drown proofing training, you actually jump into the deep end of a swimming pool with your full battle dress uniform on.
Okay.
And then there is a way you get your boots off. It's all about not drowning. Get your boots off and get ready for this part. You're going to like this part, Pat. You take your pants off.
Sir Panther. Yep.
You tie the ankles of the pants together. Then you take the pants with that. Now the ankles are tied together. You grab air with them, you swoop it back in there, and you put your head between the legs are now filled with air, and it's like a little life jacket.
Okay, yeah.
And as long as you keep it wet, the air won't come out. It's quite fast. So you kind of keep splashing water on it. After a while, if it gets too deflated, you just get it wet, you put it under the water, and then do the air grab again, and it acts like a flotation device. And I was doing that with Orsted, and he was floating above the water, which I thought was weird. So,
what was he grabbing?
I don't know, man. He was riding the rainbow.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Well, you know that Orsted. He's always got a couple tricks up his sleeves along with some other stuff.
Pants sleeves.
Yep.
Anyway,
he likes to just be free and out there and just, have some fun.
I had no idea I was going to explain drown proofing on this episode when we started. But here we are. Anyways, hey, green shirts. Thanks for tuning in for the podcast. And I want to welcome you all to Fort Longbox, where today is drown proofing day. We appreciate you tuning in to talk some G.I. Joe comics with us as we chronicle our way through G.I. Joe Special Missions by Marvel on this episode. Next episode, we'll be back to our G.I. Joe America's Elite coverage. But on this episode, we're back in the 80s, baby. It's G.I. Joe Special Missions that launched in 1986. On this episode of G.I. Joe Chronicles, DJ Kristatos and I are going to rotate in our special ops guest for the show. And for this episode, our special ops guest is Micheal Minton, codename J-Freak. I think he switched code names on us, Pat.
Oh, I was going to say J-Freak.
J-Freak. Yeah, that's me.
Welcome back, Micheal. Has a lot changed since you were here last?
Wait a minute.
A code name.
He's got jokes. I like it.
He may be pulling a Zartan on us.
Oh, man, he may be. He very well may be. But now he's back. And we got his origin story last time. And we got his 3 favorite Joe. He cheated a little bit and did 4 favorite Joes. But we're going to let that slide. Second appearance. You know the deal here, Micheal. 3 favorite vehicles. Hit us with it.
3 favorite vehicles. The Killer Whale, number 1.
That's great.
I loved that toy. It was one of my favorites. And the Sky Striker. I love that one.
Nice.
I had the Sky Striker. And who doesn't love the Hiss Tank?
Yes.
Well done.
The Hiss Tank.
I had 2 out of 3. I had the Whale. I had the Sky Striker. I never had a Hiss Tank until I got older. In fact, I just found one at a Goodwill about 2-3 weeks ago. 39 cents.
No way.
Yeah. I think the people who owned it before thought the turret was busted because it looked busted. But I did a little click, pop, pop, hiss. And once I got it seated right, it works just fine. But I will say this. It's not a vintage like 84 Hiss Tank. It's like the re-release from around 2020 or something like that. But still, a 39-cent Hiss Tank is 30.
Yeah, ain't nothing to hiss at.
Somehow I made this all about me. Welcome to G.I. Joe Chronicles, everybody. Well, that is cool. Those are good choices, Michael. We talked a little bit before recording, and he was like me. He had all the cool stuff. He was not like Jason.
Yeah, I did. I had a dragonfly. I had a shark. I had an APC.
Oh,
I had a stinger.
Man. I didn't have any of those. But man, I'm going to get that dragonfly when that big old one comes out. It's coming to Jarrod's house.
Oh, we did see that. That looks cool.
Oh man, I have no idea when it fulfills or when it ships or nothing. I'm just one day it'll show up like my new Sky Striker did.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we could chat on and on and on, but let's go to DJ Kristatos for the intelligence report.
All right. Well, for this mission, we will be covering G.I. Joe Special Mission number 5. The publisher was Marvel. It's got a cover date of June 1987. Writer was Larry Hama. Penciler, Herb Trimpe. Inker, Herb Trimpe. Colorist is Bob Sharon. Letterer is Phil Felix. And cover art goes to Mike Zeck.
Zek.
Zeck.
I think it's just Zek, though. I don't even think he had an inker on this one.
No? Do you think just Zek by himself? So must be doing like Herb was, doing his own inks as well as he did his pencils. And speaking about the cover, let's go to Death Probe. Go ahead and take us through the cover description.
There we go.
Take cover!
The standard 1980s G.I. Joe logo is smaller across the top, making room for the larger block letters, which are white with black highlights, that say Special Missions. Duke stands ready in the orange corner box. The main action depicts Ace punching out of a Sky Striker that's being shot down by a Cobra Night Raven. Back to you, Pat.
Thank you, Jarrod, for that cover description. Let's go and find out what we all thought about this cover. And we will go to our guest first, Mr. J Freak.
I think this issue the cover is just amazing with all the action. I just love the flames that are coming out of the cockpit.
Yeah.
And it's like, Ace barely made it. It's like, I just couldn't get over. How many planes has he crashed so far? He's cost the American taxpayers a lot of money, right? But I just love this cover, the intensity of it. I think it definitely speaks to what type of action you're going to get in this issue. If I would have seen this as a kid, probably would have gotten it, because I just love this the Sky Striker. It breaks my heart to see it going down in flames, but I get it.
Yeah, definitely a cool looking vehicle along with the Night Raven. I really like the Night Raven, and because I was somewhat fancy, I did have one as a child. I think I got it somewhere. I just don't know where right now, but man, the Night Raven was definitely a cool vehicle, and I was fancy enough to get it as a kid and have some fun with it. But this cover looks really cool. Like you said, a lot of action. I think what really pops is the flames, and what makes it kind of pop like that is that kind of fade from light pink to darker pink up on the top like that. Jarrod, what is your thoughts on the cover?
I think you went out of order again, Pat. But that's okay. I agree with you, Pat. I think my favorite thing about it is the pink sky. And I know this one takes place over the Gulf of Mexico. And as a guy who's been down to see many a sunrise to the Gulf, because I live not so far away, it really does do that pink sky thing. And I think that's pretty neat. And aside from that, you guys have hit it. I mean, it's aviation action. It's Ace crashing another Sky Striker, But it's super cool.
Definitely is. Well, now that we got our thoughts on the cover out of the way, let's go ahead and find out how we will rate this cover on a scale of 1 to 10 flag points. 1 meaning you didn't like it at all, and 10 meaning it's perfect and you should make a recruiting poster out of it for either support for money for a new Sky Striker or support for flying lessons for Ace. We'll go back to J Freak.
I listened to enough of your shows. It's a Zek. You're right, Jarrod. His artwork is amazing. I appreciate it. I definitely see that, and I totally agree with you. So I just have to go with the 10.
Yo, Joe!
Oh, J Freak coming out strong with a 10 on this one. We will stay to the script and go to Jarrod.
Man, this is like a Joe November 9-5 for me, Pat.
Yeah. It is. Ooh, yeah. This is a tough one.
It's tough because it is really good. I know there are even better special missions covers out there. We've had this one before on like Crusade Miss, didn't Aaron Moss bring this?
We did, yep. And I was going to talk about that during our story.
Oh, okay. Pretend I didn't say that.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Why not? Why? Let's. As Kenny Logan said, get it up as high as you can go. I'm going with 10. Yep, another great one. Great memory cover from the 80s. It's Zek. It's Plains. It's cool. It's a 10.
Yo, Joe!
Well, who am I not to join two cool guys and make it three cool guys at a 10?
Yo, Joe!
This is, I think it's an iconic cover, right? From a Joe reader. When I look at this cover, I can tell you what the story's about. Definitely when I knew this one was what we're covering, I'm like, oh, I can kind of tell you the story on what's happening just because, one, it's a great story, and two, it is a very nice looking cover as well. With that cover and cover rating out of the way, let's go ahead and turn this over back to Death Probe to find out the story synopsis in our mission brief.
Strato-Viper is pretty much a huge jerk to his ground crew and his rescue crew support teams. Ace and Slipstream treat their crews with kindness and respect. So when the Sky Striker and the Conquest X-30 go up against the Night Raven, it's a hard-fought battle. Ace and Strato-Viper both end up in the Gulf of Mexico, but the Cobra teams just aren't as motivated as the Joe teams. Ace gets rescued, and the Strato-Viper becomes an honorary Cobra Eel. Posthumously, of course.
Now, back to G.I. Joe.
Obviously, he didn't take the drowning-proof school.
Yeah, I think I didn't know when I did that bit, spur of the moment at the beginning, that worked out nicely.
It did, definitely.
Anyways, it's time to get into the highs, the lows, and the what does. We will start with Jay Freak. What you got, bud?
I want to start out with a high this time, and that is the love and the respect that the Joes have for each other. You know, you could totally see the opposite going on with Cobra, and one of the things I absolutely loved was the moment where Slipstream comes up and says, "Hey, I saw your son in the hospital last night. You know, I went and saw him, and I got him a Jetfire, which, by the way, that's a Megatron."
Yes, yes.
I had both of the toys, so I'm like, yeah, that's Megatron. But I digress. I really love the love and admiration, and because of the love and admiration the leadership has for the people that are ranked underneath them, man, they were wanting to go out of the way to make sure that they were there and on top of their game to make sure that if something happens, we're going to save our leadership. I love that.
Absolutely agree. Definitely Larry doing that Larry thing and sort of teaching the lessons he learned in the military. You know, remember your support guys and treat them well, because it will come back to bite you if you don't. Pat, over to you.
Yeah, I think it's the good lesson, no matter what kind of position you are in, you know, in life, if you know, respect the people that have either gotten you to the position you are on, or vice versa. If you're on the other end of it, you know, support the people that are above you, because they can also help you move up as well too. It is a tale of the two ways. Either, as you were saying, you know, if you're getting paid for money, or are you doing it for pride and support in your country? The Astro Viper, you know, definitely not, you know, the Cobras, they're all getting paid, so they're all in it for themselves. On the Joe side, you know, they're all in it for the country and the camaraderie and their teammates. This was definitely a cool way to kind of show that.
I wholeheartedly agree. And for my round one, I just want to remind everybody this book was, I think, cover dated June of 87, I think we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Top Gun phenomenon has happened, and it's kind of on everyone's mind. And this, I think, really is Larry playing with that idea, and that zeitgeist of the time. To even go so far as to do the inverted thing that they did in the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not even mad at it. I'm not even clowning him for it. Like, he found a way to weave in that movie's popularity, because I know people were still big on talking about it in the summer of 87, probably about the time it started coming to home video at that point. But yeah, I just think it was neat. Picture in time. And with that, we'll go back to Micheal, round 2.
I'm going to go with a what the moment for round 2. Or is it a low? Or is it another high? I don't know. It's going to go towards the Cobra flight crew. I'm going to talk about them because it's the opposite of what they were doing. And I just love the fact that the Strato-Viper, he was in trouble, and they're like, he's got it. He's going to come back. Let's take our time. And they're just not all together, And I got a question. Are they really? I know they're getting paid, but isn't Cobra Island a legitimate nation? So they really don't have a lot of patriotism towards Cobra. I love how this story ends. They were like, "Oh, he took his crowbar out so he could break the window." So, and then they throw the evidence in the ocean. I love it.
Yeah, Strato-Viper did not endear himself to those guys. Not one bit.
Nope, he got what he deserved for sure.
Yep, indeed. Pat, what do you think?
Well, this one was kind of a quick read as you went through it. I think the artwork definitely sold the story, especially during the aerial battle that was happening. Again, it feels like, it's a second story of an air fight that Larry got to do. The first one was, of course, the one you mentioned where Ace went off against the Wild Weasel, over the city, which I probably was maybe a year or so further back, because that was in issue 30 something. I really like that he was able to kind of do another callback to the fighter pilots in this, because G.I. Joe just isn't the guys on the ground or the guys, with the tanks and the other cool stuff. Their cool stuff is the fighter pilots as well too, and what they can do. And you get Slipstream in there as well too, so you don't get a lot of him. Now you get to see him in the, what is it, the X1
Conquest X30,
yeah, something like that, which is a cool looking jet in itself, I think. So yeah, I really liked how Larry gave you another story with the fighter pilots.
Yes, indeed. And for my final on this, I'll just say that I had completely forgotten that Strato-Vipers were like surgically augmented to beat
I forgot about that as well.
Yeah, so that was like a thing. Like, they'd had their bodies altered to be able to pull more G's and better maneuvers and stuff, and that's kind of neat. That's a very Cobra-y thing to do. So
yeah,
Raggedy Edge. G.I. Joe runs the Raggedy Edge of military and sci-fi, and that was what's pushing more into the sci-fi realm, and I kind of dig it.
Mm-hmm.
I dig that too. I thought that was really cool. I didn't realize that Cobra did that, but that's makes sense.
It's a very Cobra thing to do.
Yeah, you think with the brainwave scanner that they had, maybe this was like an early version of a bat or something, that doing the extra stuff that they had to do. But it's like, okay, if you did that, where are you getting the money to do this?
Destro armament sales. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, Pat, this is a fairly straightforward, quick read issue. I don't know there's a lot left, but I open the floor to any burning thoughts.
I really love this story just for the sheer fact of what we already discussed. And I loved how Larry actually, not only did he throw in a Top Gun reference that when I first read it a few months ago, I immediately got it, and it just put a smile on my face. But then I loved that he actually went the extra mile and gave us a deep, deep Batman 66 reference when they were fishing Ace out of the ocean, and he was like, man, that was fast. I didn't even have a chance to use my bat repellent. I love that. That just made me laugh with Every time I read that, I was like, yes, that Batman 66 deep cut.
I think the guy said that stuff doesn't even work anyway.
Yeah.
He did.
Oh, now I want to do some research and see if like pilots actually do carry shark repellent for if they crash into the ocean.
Yeah, but somewhere.
I don't know.
You never know.
Funny.
I mean,
That's awesome.
All right, with that, I'm going to hand it back to DJ Kristatos for the IG's report on the combat readiness of this issue.
all right. And for those of you who don't speak military, that means we're going to score this issue's story on the same 1 to 10 flag point scale we used earlier. So we will go back to J Freak. What will you rate this story on 1 to 10 flag points?
It was an easy read. It was a fun read, and I'll give this one a 9 because you're right. There are better stories, especially the looking ahead at the next issue. You know, it's like wow. Yeah, I got to go with a 9 on this one.
Yeah. All right, not too bad. Jarrod, are you going to be higher or lower on the flag points for this
I'm going to
issue?
join him at a 9. I think it's a great issue, a good, memorable issue, a lot of fun to read. Not terribly a deep one, which maybe prevents it from being a 10. But I mean, it had a good concept. It had a deep-ish concept of, treating the people around you well. But I like it as a real solid 9. What about you, Pat? What are you going to do?
I'm going to agree with you guys at a 9. I think what really helps it is the artwork. Herb Trimpe oh man, there are some of these pages in here that I'm flipping through it again. I'm just like, oh, that's so beautiful. Just the artwork of the dogfighting and the planes and some of the words that are used for the action words. And just comes together nicely. But also the storytelling that's going on here, be kind and just be respectful is the name of the issue here. So I'm at a 9. Now that we got the story put away with our ratings, let's go ahead and find out who we want to give a Silver Star medal to or a Silver Snake, either for gallantry in action or sneaky snakitude. This is where we can each award the character in this issue who went above and beyond or below and sneaky. J-Freak, who are you going to give your award to?
I'm going to give out a Silver Snake. And I'm giving a lot of Silver Snakes because that Cobra flight crew, yes, they're all getting it. They're all getting the Silver Snake for what I talked about earlier. I just love this flight crew. It's just awesome.
You know what? The problem is that they would all probably turn on each other even within the flight crew.
True that.
Jarrod, who do you give your Silver Star or Silver Snake to?
I will give a Silver Star to Slipstream. It's the only dude that did not crash his plane.
Wow.
So there you go.
Well, Ace he's going to be the first guy in action, so of course he's going to.
Yeah. I'm not bagging on Ace. Just saying between the 3 pilots, 2 of them ended up in the drink, and Slipstream did not. So he gets the Silver Star.
Well, I am going to give it to the whole Joe team on this one. The crew, the flight guys, and everybody. Even the guy in the tower is like, when he has to do the barrel roll past the tower at the end, and he goes, no, we don't normally do that, but go ahead and do it. No one's watching. And he let him get through with that. So I'm going to cop out and just give it to the whole Joe team on this one.
There you go again. You and the whole, I'm giving it to the Joes.
Yeah. It's a good one. It made me feel good reading this issue again. It's such a good memories of this one. And I know we've covered it a few times. I think we've covered it on a Crusademus episode way, way back in Crusademus years ago. So
yes, indeed. I think Aaron Head Moss brought this.
Aaron Head Moss brought this one. All right. Well, now that we've got our ratings and our Silver Star or Silver Snake medals out of the way, let's go ahead and go to Jarrod for his segment of Death Probe's Toy Chest.
It's here, the G.I. Joe collection, each sold separately. G.I. Joe from Hasbro.
All right, Pat, in this segment, I'll take something or someone featured in this issue and give you a brief toy history on it. For this issue, I've selected Strato-Viper.
You're looking at Cobra's new supersonic jet, the Raven.
Cobra Raven, Cobra Raven. There's no haven from the Cobra Raven. 2 jet engines, a drop-down cockpit, a hidden bomb port. Now you know it's got twin rear guns and a one-man drone, and it's on the lookout for G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe.
Live the adventure of G.I. Joe. Cobra Raven comes with what you see here. Other figures sold separately.
Joe!
Strato-Viper is the Cobra Night Raven pilot. They are top-tier pilots, and as we mentioned, they are surgically enhanced, and it does mention that on their file card as well. Strato-Viper was released in Series 5 in 1986 and discontinued in 1988, although he was available by mail-in 1989, 1991, and 1992. He wears a black flight suit with red highlights. He has no accessories, and currently he's the one and only version. They have never done another Strato-Viper.
Oh, interesting.
Now comes the time where I go around the room to find out who had the toy. I know you had it, Pat, because you love talking about your Night Raven, so regale us.
I did have the Night Raven, and I did have the Strato-Viper because, of course, it came with him. And it was a really cool figure. I think what really makes it cool is his helmet. He's got that cool-looking helmet on him and the color schemes.
Yes, and I forgot to mention that there might be people out there scrambling going, wait a minute, there's only one version? I think they re-released Night Raven, but one time they released it, I don't think it even came with a pilot, and the other time it came with a different type of Cobra pilot. It wasn't called a Strato-Viper, it was something else I'm not going to remember right now, but you know what? That's why we have G.I. Gary and Scotty and Jim the Joe Junkie and all that stuff. But anyways, we got to check in with Jay Freak and see if he listed a lot of fancy toys and sets he had. What about this one?
Yeah, unfortunately, this is another one I did not have. He looks really cool, and I would have loved to have the Night Raven, but I had to have my Sky Striker go up against an X-Wing, you know. Wish I had the Rattler too, man. I was an only child for 10 years and 13 days. And so 82, my brother came in, so the toys kind of dissipating, you know. The toys, you know, started going away, you know, but I still got some fun stuff, you know, but I love it.
I was lucky enough to have the Rattler, so I was able to do the Sky Striker Rattler battles, but that's just because I'm fancy.
Definitely. All right, well, up next, we will get to our feedback segment called Combat Comms.
Call it G.I. Joe! Go get Breaker! He can do it!
As always, we want to start out Combat Comms with a roster of our battle-hardened Crusader Club veterans. These are the fine folks that have joined our Crusaders Club. They enjoy early access to special Longbox video episodes, free raffle giveaways, voting on show programming, and so much more. So these are the folks reaping the benefits and giving some much appreciated support to the show.
Alan W. Wright.
And Helica Wolf.
Ow. Albrin Elvis.
Bill Beer.
Bradley Dello.
Braxton Underwood.
Clinton Robinson.
Captain Entropy.
Clark Westfield.
Dave Collins.
Battle Wagon.
Eric Hodges.
Eric Porter.
Ezra Gallo.
Gary V.
Gene Hendricks.
Gerald Green.
Heinz K.
Jason Keene.
Jason Lady.
Jeff Polier.
Jeremy L.
Jim Jarmerman.
Jim Meal.
Joe Thomas.
John Watson.
Josh Strickland.
Candace Ward.
Kathy Bright.
Matt and Lizzie Passo.
Mark Ross.
Maxwell Trevor.
Micheal Minton. Sounds made up.
Miranda W.
P.D. Devons.
Paul Hicks.
Rick from Jeff and Rick Present.
Rob Morgan.
Samantha Maney.
Sean Urbanski.
Spidey 67.
Spreadsheet.
Steve Cronin.
Tim Price.
Tony Pennington.
And the Toronto Cop. If we missed anyone on our list, we do apologize. Please keep in mind that we record these episodes well in advance of release. So if you are a recent addition, we should be adding you soon. Still, don't worry about it. Just let us know that we missed you by sending an email to contact@longboxcrusade.com and we will get it all straightened out. So you might be asking yourself, how do I become a Crusaders Club member? Well, it's very simple. Just head on over to patreon.com and search for Longbox Crusade. For as little as $1 a month, you can get access to the amazing world of Crusaders Club. Come and check it out.
And that will bring us to mission complete status for this episode of G.I. Joe Chronicles. If you'd like to hear more from us in the realm of comic books, action figures, vintage TV, movie serials, and so much more, Sherlock Holmes, check out the entire Longbox Crusade Network. DJ Kristatos, where can they find that?
Well, Jarrod, I am glad you asked. You can find that pretty much on all podcatchers out there, or go to www.longboxcrusade.com. We are also on X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search at Longbox Crusade. Back to you, Jarrod.
If you'd like to chat with us personally online, we can be found at... Back to you, Pat.
Ooh, you ambushed me just like I did you in the beginning. Well, Jarrod, I'm glad you asked. You can find me at Kristatos01. Jarrod, back to you.
All right. I can be found at Yard Sale Artist on X, Facebook, Instagram. It's all at Yard Sale Artist. You can check out my artwares at www.theyardsaleartist.com. Michael, thank you so much for being here. Where can folks find you?
They can catch me on the Twitter or Facebook. I don't do a lot. I'm so busy with everything that I do that I just kind of look there. But I'm on Facebook. You can message me, Micheal Minton. There you go.
He's got a really unique spelling of Michael, Micheal.
That is correct.
Gotcha. All right, that's how to find him. And, of course, you can always pull a battle wagon and just send anything you have for Michael to us here at the studios, and we'll make sure he gets it. Thanks for joining us for this episode of G.I. Joe Chronicles. We will see you on the battlefield next episode, where we will return to our coverage of the 2006 Devil's Due series, G.I. Joe America's Elite number 6, The Hunt for True Love. Until then, platoon, fall out.
Yo, Joe.
The music themes for this show are done by musical genius Joe November. Please check out his SoundCloud at Josephline99. That's Josephline 99. You will not regret it.
All right, who's fired up for another one?
All right.
Get your pep up. Pretend like a month has gone by.
Hey.
Hey.
It's been a while since we talked.
Oh, man. We didn't see Orsted last episode,
No.
man. Oh, poor Orsted. Just, there's so much going on. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
So much.
With your mouth full of chips. This one's a crunchy one. Good thing I took drowning.
Drown proofing.
Drown proofing, yes. No, I just drowning. I just go.
Oh, you just took drown. It's an easier class, but anyway. It's funny when I saw this cover, Pat. I thought, oh, I know this story, and I thought it was the one where Ace goes up against Wild Weasel.
Well, and
I was like, oh wait, it's not that one.
It's the other one. Yeah,
the other one. I think he actually still landed his plane when he went up.
Yeah, they both passed.